Delighted to be joined by T.O. himself, Tom Olsavsky from Cobra. Tom, great to see you again. Not as hurricane-like conditions this year at the PGA Show.
Right.
Now you have got for us the Fly-Z from Cobra. There's a lot of different versions of this driver, so break it down for us. Tell us what's common between them and tell us what's different between the three versions.
Okay, great. I'll start off with the name, first of all. The name is a common, the Fly-Z. Fly is really a cool term for things flying, right? Golf balls, per se. And Z is for zones. Zones are larger than cells, and so we're working on the structure to increase the ability of moving weight around by affecting zones instead of cells. So that's where the Fly-Z is kind of a cool take on those two names together. So that's common to all of them. The other thing you'll see common is something called the speed channel, which is this groove around the face. That does two things. One, that increases the speed on the miss hits, and it saves weight. We save about 2 grams of weight on the driver. So 2 grams of weight is always beneficial because you can take that weight, if you can take it from the front and move it all the way to the back, you're going to have a lot more forgiveness. So this driver, the Fly-Z, is designed with our what we call a back zone weight, and that's about a 12-gram construction between the weight itself and the structure of it around it. So all that weight is as far back as we can make it. Very forgiving driver. This would be a 5,000 MOI driver, among the most forgiving on the market today. So a lot of speed on miss hits, a lot of forgiveness. This is really an easy playing driver, a lot of forgiveness, but really with good distance. When you see our zone weighting systems, we're trying to take weight out of the face, in the front of the club, and out of the crown, and put it on the sole, and as far back as we can on this driver. And that gives us great forgiveness, easy up, and still high launch, low spin is what we're always trying to get for maximum distance. So really right through the middle of the market, this would be a great performing driver. Yeah. And again, we'll offer it now in 5 colors, plus an addition in the spring, which would be a green.
Okay.
Last year, green was sort of a limited edition Masters type run. This year, it'll be a more prevalent run, both for spring, Masters, St. Patrick's Day, a lot of cool things like that would go with green. So we expect to sell a lot more greens this year than last year because we were limited.
Good, I'm Irish, so I'll be having a green one. Now let's talk about a little bit about the shaft and adjustability.
Right, so when we do the adjustability, we'll go here first because it's near the head. Our system is called the MyFly. We use that with the Smart Pad. The MyFly gives us 8 settings, so we can get plus 1.5 degrees. This driver goes from about a 9 to a 12. Okay. So with that and Smart Pad allows the head to sit on this area here. So when you open the face or close or open the loft or decrease the loft, it still sits here so you don't get weird face angles. Okay. So that's one of the great techniques about our system that other companies don't have, is we always get a consistent face angle, so you get a pure adjustment of loft here. And we know loft is still critical amongst how you hit the ball. Some people need higher loft or less loft, depending on your ball flight. And it's not really driven as much by skill level, it is by the player themselves. Okay.
That is the meat and potatoes driver, the Fly-Z. So there are 2 different versions that will suit other players. So let's have a look.
Okay, when we look at the Fly-Z XL, this is our easy-to-play version. This has an offset hosel, which Cobra has had for years. We're really the leader in this technology. It's a bonded hosel without adjustability, but this is a simpler product for golfers who are, we would call them more traditional and want simpler needs. They want easy up, they want distance, but easy up is more beneficial to them, as well as some slice correction. So it's not a low-tech driver by any means, because we still have the speed channel around the face. We still use our zone weighting to take weight out of those areas and put the weight in the back. So very forgiving driver, but it'll fly a bit higher and be more forgiving than the Fly-Z. Not a low-tech, but lower price.
Okay, and lastly?
Lastly is the flagship, and this is the one that a lot of our tour pros, Ricky and Jonas, have been using so far this year. This is called a Fly-Z Plus, and what we have is called a flip zone weight. Okay. The flip zone weight is a large weight system, about 15 grams, that we move from front to back. And the key to this is there's a debate in the industry about, some companies say put all the weight in the back, and some companies say put it all forward. Yes. We're actually going to give you the opportunity as a golfer to try both. And by doing that, with the way we've designed this system being front to back, all the weight is relatively low. When we look at some other drivers with movable weights, whether around the back or up the sides, anytime you do that, you're raising the CG. Okay. So this is going to have one of the lowest CGs of any movable weight driver that has ever been made in golf. So that's really exciting. And we give you the flexibility to try both of those to understand this debate. We know that some golfers may think they're front, but they find out they're better in the back position, or vice versa. For instance, Ricky likes the front setting. Right. Jonas plays it in the back setting. Okay. 2 very comparable tour players hit it about the same distance, but they want it in different places. The other thing that also happens here is that when you change this weighting, it also changes the feel of the golf club a little bit. And if we remember old clubs that we all played or grew up with maybe a blade type club that feels kind of boardy and stiff, that's because a CG front driver or club will not bend the shaft as much during the swing, so it plays a little stiffer.
Right.
Some people like that, and some people don't like that. And we find that when people buy a driver that's all front weighted and they kind of have some issues with it over time, it's usually that sense that they lose. Consequently, a back-weighted club will bend the head more, and some players like that because it's more face closure, it's more dynamic loft. Some players don't. So we're going to give the golfer the opportunity to try both of those. Another level of adjustability, if you will, that you combine that with the sleeve, and you can really dial in any golfer.
Well, you won't find a better explanation of the Fly-Z series than from the man Theo himself. Thanks as always for joining us, and make sure whatever driver you pick it from Golf Bidder.